India, Italy, Thailand. Cuisine powerhouses which benefited from a history of massive trade and shipping. But what about a country that had no such history? A people isolated in the endless evergreens of the deep north, living peaceably off their land until the outside world came abruptly knocking. A secret in the woods. Could their food be any good? It's an issue I'm going to explore in a country called Finland, as I move from her cities to her coasts and profoundly into the forests. In local style, I'll pull my food from the carts, the sea, the earth, and the udder.
Yeah, you're doing so good in there.
I will explore the mystery of unique Finnish alcohol, rising cities, and monstrous creatures. And perhaps, when this wild ride is over, I'll find the next great global dish. Our world is full of fascinating dishes, culturally important, rich in stories, but only a few have seen the limelight. I'm Jonathan Legg, and in this series, I'm focusing my travels around the world's most underappreciated cuisines.
Oh my God.
Have they failed to market? Are they about to emerge? Or are they just plain bad? It will be a global journey of pleasant surprises, dangerous mishaps, and stunning locations. On a quest to uncover food unknown. I'm in Helsinki, the second most northerly capital city in the world. Tranquil, clean, and cool even in July. I'm looking for a cuisine contender to come out of Northern Europe, a region that is silent as a mouse on the global market. Although it's only around 100 years old as a nation, I've chosen Finland because it's at a unique confluence of several diverse influences. From the west, you have Sweden, which ran the show here for almost 600 years and established this city to compete with Tallinn across the bay. Swedish influence can be seen all the way down to the manhole covers. In the south, you have the rest of the European Union, to which Finland belongs. To the north is the Arctic Circle. Here, the uncommon climate and culture undoubtedly brings something unexpected to the plate. And to the east, a dash of something unique in Scandinavia. So where am I right now? If you said Russia, you're not too far off. For over 100 years, it was. They moved the regional capital from Turku here to Helsinki, and their influence is all around. In the architecture, landmarks, and a little bit of the cuisine. Here's the thing, outside influence came late to Finland. Before that, they were hunters and gatherers, living far from each other, not packed into cities and towns. This has left traits that you still see in the people today. Their knack for sitting comfortably in silence, their love of foraging, and their affinity for nature. Does this same spirit cross over to the cuisine? Have they adopted the dishes of their conquerors, or have they doggedly stuck to the food of their land? Finland is a mystery, completely off the global radar, but I'm on a mission to put it on mine. An interesting quirk about travel is that if you put yourself on an open schedule and you keep your mind curious, good things come to you. In Cambodia, a casual roadside stop revealed the local delicacy of fried tarantula. In the Philippines, a jungle survival course introduced me to the best dish I've ever had there. In Paris, a group of vampire aficionados led me to an amazing steakhouse hidden behind a metalhead bar. On this Helsinki morning, while languidly admiring the beauty of Senate Square, something delightful comes to me once again. Hey!
Hi.
Hi! What's this?
It's raw porridge bite.
Raw porridge.
Yeah.
Wow, you're like out of a dream. I'm hungry.
Oh yeah. I have one porridge called Blueberry Dream.
Blueberry dream.
You want to try?
It's meant to be. Absolutely. This buoyant entrepreneur is Evelyn Harala, who has created Puurolla.
Here?
Ooh la la. Now, I don't want to eat any tourist food. Is this traditional Finnish stuff?
Yeah, it's traditional Finnish. We like to eat porridge. That's a little bit modernized version of it.
Evelyn's porridge is made raw, without cooking, using organic oat and chia seeds, and naturally sweetened with banana in the blend. Wow. And when I think porridge, I think prison food or orphanage food. Something that's just kind of thrown out there, completely bland, with an odd texture. But this is filling yet not heavy, refreshing, cool on a summer day, sweet but not over the top. My food quest is already off to a fantastic start. With the steady burn of porridge, I set off to find more Finnish cuisine. It turns out the food cart thing is booming in Helsinki. In this park, not too far from the old Olympic Stadium, I find another, making Karelian pies, an Eastern-inspired dish eaten straight and simple, or fancied up with a little salmon.
So this is the traditional one. You have butter and egg in it.
All right.
And don't be cheap on the butter.
Yeah.
You put a lot of it.
Go heavy.
And this is kind of a modern twist with a horseradish pastry and cold smoked salmon. And that brings a bit of a kind of like a Japanese influence into it. Cold
Right.
smoked salmon and salmon in general is very common in Finland. We eat that a lot. But traditionally, Karelian pies are not eaten with salmon.
Oh yeah, that's good. Nothing fancy, but it's rich and tasty.
Yeah, it's kind of our hot dog or our hamburger, the most traditional snack, street food snack that you can eat on pretty much every occasion.
This is the Finnish hot dog, essentially.
Kind of yeah.
Oh, I like that. Is that cream cheese?
Yeah. Cream cheese with a hint of a horseradish.
It's an unusual combination. Usually, you'd have something like that on a cracker,
Well, yeah, kind of.
but on the Karelian pie, it gives it a lot more body.
Yeah.
But the one thing that booms even more than food carts? Coffee. Finns are the #1 coffee consumers on the planet. And in honor of this statistic, I will drink a cup of coffee everywhere I go. Coffee was actually made illegal twice in the 18th century, but the prohibition never stuck. This almost happened in my own country as well. It came down to the wire. One famous case. If the judge had sided differently, you might have to get your caffeine fix like any other illegal drug. On the low. Hey, you got that coffee? Thanks. But there was a prohibition that did stick in Finland. A story that I uncover in this curious, if not a touch morbid, little shop. Interesting. So this was designed to teach school kids the danger of alcohol consumption
Yeah,
during Prohibition.
during that time.
That's like a bad liver, right? Damage
Yeah.
from drinking too much booze.
Yeah, it's called like fat liver, and this is the normal, like healthy one. Of course, it's like a little bit damaged because it's old, and that's how what's
Yeah.
happened if you drink too much.
If you drink too much alcohol. Wow.
Yeah.
To follow up on the Prohibition story, I head west, young man, to Finland's oldest town. Turku is an easy breezy kind of place. Although it's Finland's oldest town, even its medieval quarter looks fairly modern, the result of several great fires. The lazy Aura River is the spine of the city. On a summer day, locals meander and relax by her banks. A walk down the water will lead you from a majestic castle to a prodigious maritime museum, replete with gorgeous old ships and a collection of over 300 classic outboard motors. Just a little farther down the river, you'll begin to see proud Turku Cathedral rising up above the lush trees. This here is one lucky church. It survived 20 of 30 great fires that ravaged Turku, and it lived through 6 wars. Perhaps it's all that soul power that pushed the flames and the bombs away, considering there are about 4,000 bodies buried underneath it, including one of a rags-to-riches, Cinderella-like Swedish queen. Let's go inside and see if there are any nuggets to be found. The air inside the vaulted ceilings is cool and still. A lazy organist waits for closing time.
Yeah, buried amongst all these very typical church frescoes is a really interesting one. Here you have the King of Sweden and Bishop Henry baptizing the pagan Finns in 1155. Now think about that. Constantine made Christianity the religion of the Roman Empire in the 4th century. That's a long stretch of time until it came to the Finnish people, and it says something about them today, how it's a young country, how it's a largely rational, agnostic, atheist country, and why it was so heavily influenced by Sweden and Russia.
This long history of isolation has indubitably had an effect not only on the people, but also on the cuisine. And speaking of cuisine, I've picked a good time to be in Turku. A small festival has all the vendors out, with a unique selection of grab-and-go grub. Like Moikku Lautanen, aka European Cisco, a local favorite. Just a little bit off the river is the atmospheric Market Hall, full of all kinds of delectables. But for a real treat, meander towards the front and find this renowned pastry shop. Piece of cake.
Yes,
I hear you are the best bakery in Finland.
yes, that's true.
You won a competition.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
What are your specialties here?
We have lots of unique pastries over here, and I think our best pastry is sea buckthorn cheesecake.
Sea buckthorn.
Yeah,
It's a type of berry.
yeah, it's a little berry, I can show you.
Buckthorn.
Yes,
I've never seen this before. It's a Finnish berry, a Nordic berry.
yes, it's Nordic berry.
Wow, this thing is like a piece of art.
Yes, that's true.
Everything in life is ephemeral. Just gotta enjoy it while it lasts.
What do you like?
Sweet Lord in heaven. It's kind of like a cross between a berry and an apricot.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or am I just
Yeah.
tripping? No. Tell me something. How does a Finnish bakery distinguish itself from all the bakeries in the rest of the world?
Because we use fresh berries. That's our thing, and you also said that our pastries are a piece of art. So that's the thing.
true.
Also, there's always something,
There's always
something
something.
special.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Finland is sort of known for its berries. I'm hearing that from
Yeah.
everybody I talk to.
Yeah.
Everybody not brags, but they sort of just state, like, our berries are pretty good.
Yeah. And we use all of berries: strawberry, blueberries, raspberry. and that's sea buckthornberry also.
Sea buckthorn.
Yeah.
Well, the day is early and already I've had a novel experience in my life. Never had buckthorn before.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I've ever had a pastry this pretty. Germans make excellent bread, and the French fantastic pastries. You know this because it's the talk of the town. But Finns are also superb bakers. You don't know this because here they don't really like to toot their own horn. Locals hold themselves to a high standard, but they don't really make a fuss about it. That was good.
And now with my mouth dry as an autumn leaf from all that cake, I've got to get something to drink. Thankfully, I've got some options. Bar culture is different here in Finland. Turku is a new fountain of drinking hole creativity, with bars that have been established in old schoolhouses, pharmacies, and public toilets. The unique bars and rather unique drink all link back to that creepy kit in the Curious Helsinki shop.
Kiitos. Finland, like the United States of America, had prohibition. But when it ended, it wasn't a clean break. Like, it's over, free market for everybody. In fact, you could say they're still sort of coming out of it. When the 1952 Olympics came around, they had a little bit of a dilemma. They knew there would be a huge international clientele that would want them some booze. What to do? So the state-controlled, monopolistic retailer of alcohol came up with a solution. They would provide 2 drinks for all these foreign visitors. One was gin and grapefruit, and the other was brandy-based. The brandy one has since fallen off and disappeared into the realm of history's ash pile. But the grapefruit-based one is still around. And it's not too shabby on a summer day.
But wait, I hear a rumor that the missing drink is still alive, and I rush to investigate. A search that leads me down the bright and sterile aisles of Alko.
There it is. It's alive! The original brandy long drink still exists. The rumor is that this kind of fell out of the bar scene because it was too good. People liked it too much, and you can't have too many people drinking, so it kind of got pulled back into obscurity. But her heartbeat is still ticking. Let's see what she tastes like. Let's do this. No, I'm just kidding. It's not bad. Brandy and Pomac, which is like ginger ale. You know, it's very similar to the other long drink, which is strange because they have different ingredients. 5.5% alcohol, but still super smooth. Like a soda with just a tiny bit of bite. I can see why the Olympic crowd may have gone gaga for it.
Now, there are a lot of tempting beverages in the bar scene, in the alcohol store, and you know I like that coffee. But there is one drink you absolutely must try and savor in Finland, and it comes straight out of your hotel sink.
Finland has the cleanest tap water in the world. It's so good that people in tourism tell visitors, please don't waste your money on bottled water. That's a message I can get behind.
Completely hydrated, I'm ready to check out Turku's celebrated restaurant scene, an experience that will lead me out to her islands and into the path of a legendary killer. I'm Jonathan Legg on a food unknown adventure in the quiet, yet expansive country of Finland. I've checked out the yummy food carts in Helsinki and found a curious kit in a curious shop that led me over to Turku to explore the story of how a sliding Finnish prohibition produced a now booming bar scene and very unique cocktails to serve an Olympic crowd. I've sampled some of Turku's street grub and tasty desserts, but now it is time for a couple proper meals, starting at the established restaurant, Mami.
The presentation is so beautiful I hardly want to touch it. You ever been in that spot? But I'm starving, so I will. First time I've had European whitefish, which is in the salmon family. There's something to be said about eating food in season, and the Finns are nuts about that. They absolutely won't eat something unless it's the proper time to do it, and there's heavy anticipation in the country when something is ready to go. For example, now it's berry season. Everybody's excited about the berries. And when the potato crop comes out, there's even a blog that has a countdown for it. And I can see why they're excited. These new potatoes are rich, buttery, a little salty, and absolutely feel like the most wholesome thing you could put in your mouth.
With my belly full of grub, I take a mosey down to Turku's famous maritime museum, complete with some remarkable ships at dock. Farther down the river, squatting like a bookend on the city, is the formidable castle. With a bit of cajoling, I get myself a go at old school archery. A slightly wonky attempt. But back inside the castle walls, I did excel at my specialty, spotting inconspicuous curiosities.
This is some kind of a charm or incantation.
Yes. During the mid-1500s, when they got these big windows in outer walls, they were a little bit scared that some evil spirits could fly through windows and make harm to the people. So if there were labyrinth or maze here carved on the wall, they think that
The
spirits
spirit
could just
would get caught in the maze.
There. Yeah.
And
So
wouldn't
they
come in
do-
the castle.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a clever attempt.
Yeah, they tried actually.
Yeah.
As the sun begins to wane in Turku, I find myself hungry once again. Solution? Koski's restaurant, where a set sampler menu exposes me to all kinds of amazing creations.
Eric, tell me about your philosophy as a chef. What are you trying to accomplish here?
I'm trying to accomplish a nice restaurant that we can do our own kind of thing, and we are making like the ingredients is the number one our restaurant.
And how do you think Finland can distinguish itself and market itself on the world scene?
Basically the same answer: the berries and mushrooms and everything what comes from the nature.
Right, to say this food is natural, it's fresh, it's clean, and it's pure.
Yeah.
It seems
And
like it to
simple.
me. And simple.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it.
Oh, thank you.
And your restaurant lives right up to that philosophy. Exactly what you said is what you delivered.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that,
Yes.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The food at Koski, like Mami, was fresh and clean. The seasoning was mild, which lacked razzle-dazzle, but allowed the subtle, natural flavors to arrive on my taste buds. A pattern is emerging. I'm now curious to learn more about the fish. And as we are both by the sea and a remarkable series of islands, I have a splendid opportunity. These are a few of the 25,000 islands of the Turku archipelago. As many as 25,000 more stretch over to Sweden.
When I was researching Finland, I heard about a mythical creature called a Naki. which is kind of a cross between a mermaid and a Japanese kappa.
Lurking in the water, this sinister beast could snatch you from the edge and pull you to your demise.
I got all giddy and I called up Visit Finland. The response I got was a little quizzical.
So instead, I opted to fish for a more reasonable catch. Big pike. Alright, well, I'm not the most skilled fisherman, but my team did fairly well, and I'll call that a success. We take a break on one of the many islands where a few hardy locals have posted up and made themselves an isolated home. Here I'm invited to try a fisherman's specialty.
Lillian here has cooked up some homemade kalaketo, which is a Finnish salmon soup. Warms the bones, tastes awesome. Kalaketo to the Finns is sort of like chicken noodle soup is to Americans. But instead of those little fish-like crackers that you might throw in, you have this awesome dark bread. It's just a little bit sweet. You put on a lot of butter, and I got no problem with that, and then a little bit of cheese. Voila. There's something about homemade that always shines through. Hits the spot. Got that nice salmon flavor, little pieces, a little carrot, potato. It's hearty. I can see why this is a fisherman favorite.
While my personal fishing skills could use a polish, I am fairly adept at polishing off traditional Finnish seafaring food. It's a trend I'd like to continue as I leave the Turku archipelago and head for the painfully scenic town that's slowly being abandoned by her coastal roots. This is the Maritime Museum of Rauma, a fantastic little stop full of collectibles honoring the city's long relationship with the sea. Upstairs, the friendly curator, a former sea captain, fixes me up with another maritime meal.
Look at that. This here is lapskosi, which may translate into mush or gruel. Allegedly very tasty. It was made by sailors in this region because it was economical. They would take potatoes, turnips, whatever they had on hand, cook it in the seawater, and then throw most of that water out. If they had something extra, a little meat, a little fish, they'd throw it in there too. I believe this one here has some carrots and some pork in addition to those standard ingredients. Let's see how it tastes. This is the kind of food I wish I would have known how to make back in college, instead of all that macaroni and cheese and top ramen. Something economical, tasty, and good for you. Hits the spot.
As I leave the museum, I can't help but to feel a little bit sad. Such a nice team of people who've created this space, honoring something that is gradually deserting them. That's right. The sea itself is leaving Rauma, and it's not the only one saying goodbye.
Take this meandering little creek, quite romantic. But back in the 16th century, this was a navigable river. Pretty soon, it won't be here at all.
The reason is this: post-glacier rebound. The massive ice shelf that covered Finland compressed the land like a sponge. Now that the ice has melted, the ground is expanding back to its fluffy form. This phenomena is adding islands to the Turku archipelago, but taking rivers and the sea from poor little Rauma. And I too must leave Rauma. For my coastal journey now ends as I prepare to push up into the great north, a land of vast forests and strange beasts. Finnish roads are ceaselessly long, so it's a good idea to break up the journey with a couple pit stops, like this one at Finland's fast food sensation, Hesburger.
Yeah. So apparently these guys have been doing smashingly well in Finland, and they're looking to go international and take on the other fast food giants. Let's see if they got what it takes. They could have been a contender. Well, it doesn't make me jump up and down, but it's pretty par for the course. Average fast food. They do throw a lot more mayo on there than your average cheeseburger, which may not suit the taste of most Americans, but I think Europeans dig that stuff. And I do too. It gives a little more oomph, a little more bang for your buck.
Back on the road, I must be alert, for as we near the Arctic Circle, a new hazard emerges, over and over. Reindeer, leaping out of the forest and meandering over the highway like they couldn't care less. But I care. That's what leads me here, to a small reindeer ranching operation that's been going for generations. It's breeding season in the area of Ruka-Kuusamo. All reindeer now free to feed, fornicate, and foster children in the forest will later be herded into a place like this. Palosaari, a reindeer ranch possessing just a few residents in the summer season.
So you have the reindeer around here?
Yeah, I have some.
Can we have a look?
Most of our reindeers, they are in the forest now.
Mika lets me in on one of her few summertime activities, milking a female reindeer.
What's in the box? What's in the box? A reindeer!
Yeah.
All right, warm hands and an easy rock DJ voice taking you through the night. Hulda is the name?
Yes.
Hey Hulda, how you doing in there?
Good.
Where are your little nipples at? I don't even see your nipples. Right in here?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna feel around here a little bit, Hulda.
Yeah.
I got one. Cruise through the night with DJ Johnny Holiday. Here we go. Am I pinching you, babe? Does that feel all right? Hulda, you smell so good. Like the forest. I can imagine walking through a green pasture, evergreens swaying in the wind, eating the over 200 plants of the forest, delicious in your mouth. And as they digest slowly in your stomach, that milk starts to form. And it works its way down to your little udder.
But no matter how butter smooth I wax, I just can't seem to win.
Thank you, Hulda. That was fun.
All right, I'm gonna let the master take over.
Then you can taste it.
Can I taste it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's flavors in there I've never experienced in milk. It's softer, it's like a cotton ball in your mouth, but nuanced with all kinds of forest flavors.
Back in a traditional lodge, under a halo of dark smoke, my little drop of reindeer milk is added to a bunch more and then used to make pancakes topped with homemade lingonberry jam.
The only place in the world you can get a reindeer milk pancake.
You know, with normal pancakes, no matter how well they're made, how bougie the restaurant,
you can always sort of detect the grains of the flour. But inside a slightly crunchy exterior, it's like butter. Something about that reindeer milk makes it as fluffy as a cotton ball.
The reindeer milk makes a great addition to the pancakes and the coffee. But how about the reindeer itself? I've become a little too intimate with this silly gang. So to explore this northern delicacy, I travel over to the cozy lodge at Rukatontu, where I meet Mari Hurtia. Together with fellow chef Sami, a special meal comes together. European Cisco is cooked as an appetizer, and a variety of mouth-watering sides are whipped up as clean lake air drifts over the terrace. But the centerpiece of this feast will be healthy cuts of reindeer, pegged to a wooden board and placed just above the edge of the fire. Rather than a consistent burn, an occasional flame will lick the meat. It's a barbecue style I've not yet tried, but I am eager to sample. With the food prepared, we slip back into the comfort of the lodge. At a long table, the dining ritual begins. Finns take their time, both making the food and savoring it in the aftermath. It's a slow-paced, communal affair. For a visitor like me, this is a great opportunity. Finns are usually very soft-spoken, but this is an environment where they really open up. You can't beat a scrumptious meal in a postcard environment with great people. And here's the thing. This food is all locally sourced and extremely fresh, a theme that seems uninterrupted in Finland. I've got one last stop on my trip, but before I return to the capital, I'm gonna quickly learn the do's and don'ts of sauna culture. Before heading south, I would be remiss if I didn't indulge in Finland's most sacred culture, the sauna. Woo. Sauna has a special place in Finnish culture. It's not just a hot room. In old Finland, kids were born here and deceased were washed here, so the whole cycle of life happened, including weddings today. Men get drunk in the sauna and jump in the lake for their bachelor party. Women have a very special ceremony when one female runs around the sauna naked and counts out the names of all the lovers she's had before her husband-to-be. And they believe there's a spirit that abides in the sauna, kind of like an elf, who's very against negativity, bad language, and anger. So it's a good place for business deals to happen and for spatting couples to de-escalate. Even yoga is moving into modern-day sauna culture, giving one a gentle stretch in the tranquil space. This may not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. But there is one activity you really can't skip. Jumping in the lake is a key part of the experience. Hot to cold water is becoming trendy in the mainstream, but the Finns did it way before it was cool, and they still do it better. Never miss an opportunity to jump in the water.
Got stuck in the moss!
Just make sure it's deep enough. Relaxed and refreshed, it's time to head out. To meet Chef Sasu Laukkonen, to further explore the local fresh food philosophy of Finnish top cooks. At his award-winning restaurant Sommelier, Sasu utilizes parts of plants that are often discarded to create wonderfully inventive dishes. It's a technique that demands healthy organic produce, most of which he gets from his Helsinki community garden, full of blossoming berries and robust crops.
I'd say this cauliflower is a perfect example of what we've been talking about and what my principles have become. Because normal conventional farmers, all of these leaves would be sprayed.
Right.
like so that bugs would not attack this tiny little center here. It's like just bigger than a golf ball.
So they're basically protecting this part to sell it.
Yes.
Which makes all the rest of the plant inedible.
Totally. Yeah.
But you cook with these.
I love to cook with these.
I would never consider cooking with all these. I guess I'm indoctrinated, you know, that
most
this is the only part you eat, and you throw away everything else.
Of course. But my reason to go organic is where you can use the whole plant. So it doesn't, you know.
Now I feel like I really get it.
Cool. But it's the same idea with animals. I mean, the fish bones you can use for soup, meat bones you can do sauces and whatever.
So although you're paying less for the conventional food, you're using a lot less as well. So it's worth those extra dollars to get the organic primo, and you can use the whole thing.
Yes.
As fresh as this food is, the Finns go even one step better, connecting this cooking with an activity they have done for centuries. For my last act in Finland, I take a scenic ride to a small island outside of Helsinki with Michelin star-rated chef Joni Toivainen. Here I'll explore a quintessential Finnish activity.
Everyone in Finland knows someone who owns a cottage, either here at the sea or one of the country's thousands of lakes. Chilling at the cottage is the quintessential summer experience. Here they sauna, swim, and play. Oh, and they do one other thing as well.
They forage. There are over 250 edible plants in Finnish forests. And I'm picking them with a guy who has written 2 books about cooking with wild ingredients.
Is it a problem we're picking this? This is national forest, not somebody's property.
No, it's not the problem in Finland. We have this thing called every man's right, that it's legal to pick anything, wild herbs, berries, mushrooms, in anybody's property.
Really?
Yeah.
So anywhere in Finland, you can go to any land and pick wild food.
Yeah.
No one's gonna come out with a shotgun and say, "Get off my land."
Yeah, might come, but it's not legal.
But legally you have the right.
Yeah.
Once you get into foraging, it becomes a fun activity.
It's bountiful, this little island forest. Got a heap of strawberries, some chive, sorrel, and ice plant. A bunch of blueberries over there too. You can almost live out your life here. It's like a cross between something minty, like spearmint, and black licorice. With a tangy finish. If you're going on a date and you can't find any gum, this is a good substitute.
Date in the forest, just a moment, please.
It's amazing that anyone would figure out you could drink this, but not that or not this. But I guess we have to thank our ancestors who over millions of years and probably thousands and thousands of deaths have tried all the wrong ones and determined what's edible and what's not. And now we benefit from their trial and error. So these are juniper berries.
Yes.
And from this, all gin is born.
And it's also great spice for the game, like for the reindeer, for the elk.
Gives it a little pizzazz.
It's quite strong taste, but it works well.
Wow, look at this. It's super cute, like an inspirational poster. Little cutesy baskets full of bright fruits, herbs, but then you add this and it's a hearts. I saw your setup here, man, and I thought, you ate all the corn off the cob already. What are we doing with the husk? But it's a honeycomb, huh?
Yeah.
How about that? I've never seen a honeycomb shaped like that before.
Yeah, but it's not honey inside. It's this larvae that you can eat.
Whoa, bee larva. You can eat these?
Yes.
Just straight up?
Yeah, you can eat it straight up.
Yeah. Looks like something out of an alien movie. And when you pop it, it comes out this white, creamy sort of. Look at that. But it tastes just like a lima bean. Joni, in a nutshell, what makes Finnish food so unique?
Yeah, I think we have a special everyman's rights here that we can go to forest and pick up any wild things, and then the climate is very special. We have long days during the summer.
So the unique climate in these bountiful forests you have here in Finland produce wild food that's unique to any place in the world.
Yes.
When the foraging is over, Joni throws some reindeer hearts on the grill as we prepare for one last Finnish meal. Spectacular, spectacular.
What a gorgeous place to work. This has to be the most beautiful kitchen in the world.
Equally scenic, our swinging table setup, where it all comes together.
So this is it, everything we pulled out of the wild and the hearts pulled out of the reindeer come down to this dish.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Hyvää ruokahalua.
Ai, kiitos. Samoin.
Cheers. Great gods of the forest. This is amazing. That base layer that you ground up really makes it. It sort of flushes out the flavor. There's so many things going on, and at different points of the chew, different flavors come through. The herbs, the meat, the mushrooms. And the crispy bee larva, yeah, give it a little crunch.
Yeah.
I've really never had a dish before that shifts so much in your mouth. Going traces of sweet, and then something robust, something that tastes of the vegetation straight from the forest.
There's like every basic taste is also.
It covers all the bases, and yet it's like a cool, light, summer sort of cuisine.
Yeah. No cream, no butter.
And the reindeer heart has a very even flavor that mixes in with all the other ingredients. Doesn't overpower anything.
Yeah, it's quite mild actually.
After the meal, Joni and I share a little sauna with all the trappings.
I feel invigorated. Well, it's been a real treat sharing in a typical Finnish summer day activity. And what struck me is how natural everything was for the locals I was with, including foraging in the forest. They could just spot the stuff immediately, where I would step right over it. And that's a clue that you're doing the real deal. It's not a manufactured tourist experience. You're doing what the locals are doing, which is ultimately what travel should be all about. Ah.
And that too summarizes Finnish cuisine, a food unknown to the world, but celebrated by the locals who pick it, farm it, fish it, and raise it in the natural way. After 2 weeks, I've stuck fork and spoon into all kinds of Finnish creations, met with young entrepreneurs, chatted with top chefs, and have discovered a food unknown that deserves a good word.
So is it possible to eat well using only locally sourced and seasonal food? Finland says yes. Usually I come out of a vacation with a full tummy, but feeling bloated like a factory farm chicken. After 2 weeks here, I still feel as spry as a reindeer and as clean as a forest blueberry. Now, if cuisines were superheroes, Italy, Thailand, and India might be Superman, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk. Finland might be like Robin. No remarkable power, but clean, wholesome, and a winner. You feel good rooting for him. And in that sense, it sort of represents the country and the people as a whole. If you're headed for dinner, You couldn't ask for a better sidekick.